Alrighty guys, welcome to this episode of Pete versus Plants. In today's episode, I'm going to be unboxing some cacti. I'll show you the different cacti that I've recently purchased. We'll talk a little bit about grafting. I'll pot them up and then I'll bring you out here and give you a bit of a tour of the greenhouse. How does that sound? G'day you mob, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of Pete vs Plants. I'm Pete and the plants are in the box. Unfortunately, I didn't show you my address because I had forgotten to write over the top of it. Anyway, I have been getting into cacti, as you guys know, recently. So I bought a greenhouse and it's set up now outside. So I might give you a little tour of that after we finish this. But I've also been purchasing quite a lot of different rare cacti online to sort of get some stock up because I want to diversify the sort of plant business, my hobby, but I also want to get into hybridizing and breeding strains of different cacti, which seems to be something really interesting and fun to do and easy because they flower profusely during spring and summer. And all you really need is a cotton bud and you just go boop, 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 boop. Some even self-fertilize. But yeah, so that's the news recently. Greenhouse is built. I've got loads of cacti in there. It's only about 2/3, not 2/3, it'd be like 2/5 full. It's less than half. I'll give you a look there. I've been getting into agaves. Oh my God, there are some beautiful agaves out there, guys. The jagged teeth on them. And when you look at the leaves that come out, they get some of the different agaves are left with the impression of the previous leaf and the jagged teeth from that leaf on the center because they're offset like this, right? And it just looks so beautiful. I have to, I feel like such a nerd, and it's probably, beauty in the eye of the beholder. My wife looks at them and it's just like, you're a freak. That thing scares me. It looks like it could tear me apart. But I will show you one of the agaves that I got recently, which is, I think, Agave potatoum. I think that's it, or potato rum. And it's a special cultivar, but the teeth on it are beautiful. The impressions that the leaves get on them are absolutely stunning. And they have all these colors of like dark blues, these pastel-y kind of yellows, oranges, reds, and blacks, and these variegated whitey cream colors. So I don't know, I found them really appealing. I didn't realize how cool agaves were. They really sucked me in. Now I'm just waiting to get sucked into aloes. I always want to say alloy, but aloes. Hello, mate, hello. And so yeah, the other update for you guys is I've been selling a whole bunch of stuff on eBay. And I've got a whole bunch of boxes here from the post office. And I want to say thank you because a whole bunch of you guys reached out after, I think the previous video or the video before that, where I was mentioning that I had Thai constellations and the pink princess that I chopped up. And a whole bunch of those got sold to people in Australia. I want to apologize to anyone in the US who's watching and would like to purchase some of these plants but can't. But the laws with exporting and importing plants to and from Australia are just a nightmare to try and negotiate. So it's just not possible for me to, import anything from overseas. I have to do that through a friend, and we've tried it, and the plants suffered immensely through the fumigation process, many of which died, including a Spiritus Sancti. And it's also really difficult to export them. So if I try exporting the plant without a permit or anything like that that's organized and you don't have one over in the US, etc., it'll just get caught up in customs, whether in Australia or the US, and the plant dies. Anyway, massive thanks to you guys. And I guess I should give you a download. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think I've probably made about $2,500 in the last 2 weeks. And it's been Thai constellation cuttings that I've sold. I sold a Monstera mint large form plant. I think that I showed that one in the video where I got these 2 different types of variegated Monstera, large form Monstera, in the same pot, and they've been grown from seed, and somehow one of them had spontaneously shot out this leaf that looked like it had mint variegation. And so I sort of don't have space, and these things are large form, right? They're going to get huge, and I have some other mint variegated Monsteras that I'm growing out of TC. So I was like, I'll just put this up and sell it. And that went for about $300, which really surprised me, to be honest. And I auctioned all these on, well, at least most of these on eBay. So I just, put them up there and was just like, guess we'll just see how they go. So that one went, I did 2 albos, Monstera albo cuttings that I took. Sold another one of those to a friend's dad who came over the other day. He grabbed one. Thai Constellation cuttings, they went, and a whole bunch of El Choco Reds. The El Choco Reds have been interesting. I've sold a whole bunch on Facebook in the marketplace and in the Facebook groups, and they have gone for between $130 to $100, maybe $200, depending on the size of the plant. And, you know, sometimes people haggle with you and everything, and you're just like, yeah, sure, whatever, if the deal's good enough. And then I did a whole bunch of auctions on eBay, and something that you guys might find interesting, you have to sort of work out how many do you want to release each week if you've got a whole bunch that you're releasing on eBay. Because if you release, say, 10 during 1 week, they're each going to go for relatively less because you're going to have a set number of people that are interested in those plants, and if the supply is higher than it could otherwise be, the plant will go for a lower value, right? So, you know, if I flooded the market with 1 million of them tomorrow, they would go for cents on the dollar. So yeah, I did 2 of those. I think I sold 2 of those the week prior, and I had them just at a set price, buy now. I think it was like 130, 40, whatever it was. I can't even remember. And they both went, and then I tried auctioning them. And the auctioning one was interesting because I did 3 this week, and they finished last night. One of them went for like $110. And it was interesting. I set them to finish 5 minutes apart. And so obviously everyone is looking at the first one, and that goes for the lowest price. The second one went for like 130. And then the third one, that was the last one, went for like 150 something dollars. So it was interesting where obviously all the people missing out were willing to sort of bid more and more and more as there were fewer of these plants for auction on eBay. So anyway, I'm sharing this because I feel like it's useful information for you guys if you're trying to sell any of your plants and you want to work out how to do it. Facebook Marketplace, there's Facebook groups, buy, sell, swap groups locally, wherever you are in the world. You know, they're really active here in Australia. There's eBay, which is really good too. eBay takes like 10%, it may be more, but they take a fair chunk. The good thing though with eBay is the thing that you're paying for from their commission is access to the audience that is already there searching for these plants, right? So yeah, anyway, big waffle at the start here, but that's what I've been up to. I'm not sure what's going to be in this box. So I'm assuming it's going to be cacti. Oh, you know what? These are actually grafting stock. Interesting. And there should be, I think, there should be some cacti at the bottom here. So we'll get into this too, but I need to chuck some gloves on because the grafting stock in here has, I think it's glaucids, I think they're called. And they are the really little nasty spines that just easily come off a cactus. Some of them have them, most don't, but some like the opuntias have them. So these are the prickly pears, and if you guys know of any prickly pear cacti, they are unpleasant if you rub into them. And effectively, I think glaucids, I'll have to look this up and correct myself if I'm wrong, but these are tiny little fiberglass-like spines that just readily come off the plant, and they embed themselves in your skin, and if you don't remove them, and they're very hard to see, you can end up with blisters for months, right? Pustules, all that sort of stuff coming out. So anyway, I got a whole bunch of these online because the good thing about them is that you can use them as grafting stock to put cacti on. So grafting stock is where you have another plant that is closely related to the plant that you're grafting on the top. In the terms of cacti, it would be obviously pretty much any other cactus, usually a columnar one or one that grows, you know, vertically more voraciously than say a globular cactus, right, like a ball. And you chop the top off the grafting stock so that it has a nice root system at the bottom and a sort of column, chop the head off. You take the head from another cactus, whether it's a columnar cactus or a globular cactus, chop the roots off it, and you can fuse them together by getting their, the phloem and the xylem to effectively overlap. And you want them to not be perfectly overlap like a ring over a ring, but like this, offset when you graft them on. And I think that's to definitely make sure that at least some of the phloem and some of the xylem are overlapping, right? Because you've got a small circle and a big circle, and you put the small circle in the middle, nothing's overlapping. So that's effectively what it's for. I'm sort of quite terrified to touch these after I was told by the person, just take it easy, you know, don't touch them with your bare hands. Use gloves. I don't know why I'm wearing a glove in one hand. And using that glove to hold the box. I'm an idiot. Anyway, so I got a whole bunch of this species. So I think this is Pereskiopsis, and I've forgotten the species name, but it looks like, I wonder if I can pick up one with my hand here, if I just get the end of it. It looks like this, and apparently they're really easy to root up, but you can probably see the glaucids are these little spines here. Not sure if this is going to focus properly, but they are coming out of these little holes here, and it's interesting because it's a cactus that has leaves. But yeah, so they are what you do not want in your skin at all. But you can just plant these guys up and they grow pretty quickly apparently. You just chuck them in the soil. Bloody Peaches playing in my plants. What's she doing? And yeah, then you can use them as rooting stock. And apparently they're really good because the roots that it develops, the root system is very, very, very voracious, right? So it's very good at transporting nutrients and everything up the stem into the scion, which is the grafted top that you've put onto the rootstock, and helps them grow really, really quickly. So I got some others too that I think are Trichocereus, so it's a different type of columnar cactus. And I think from this person too, I also got some asterias, some Astrophytum asterias. So I'm going to pull these all out. Trying to be wary of the spines that may or may not be inside of these different packages. Oh man, I got done, caught off guard. And I will give this person a shout out because I have purchased stuff from them a few times, but they are buttons on eBay. So go and check them out if you are at all interested in cacti. Bloody Peaches moving the light. What are you doing? You playing with your mouse? Peaches. Jesus. So, I guess we'll just open these up and see what's inside, you know? Gently. Might do this barehanded because these are not as bad at all. They're just going to give you a bit of a prick. They're going to give this prick a bit of a prick. So, yeah. But the other thing that I bought from her, I think it's in this package. I assume they're both in this package. So open this up and see. Should be a bunch of Trichocereus, which is a different type of columnar cactus. Let's see if I open this up. Yeah, here we go. Tiny ones. Oh, so cute. And you can use them as grafting stock too, and they grow really, really, really quickly. So she just said, oh, I've got a bunch of seedlings that I've grown out. So if you want some, let me know. I'm going to try and lift one up here to show you. Oh, don't. Oh, okay, they're still quite small. That is what they look like. You know what's something really weird that I've noticed? In the plant community, they seem to use the phrase looking like all the time. And I'm an English teacher, and typically, I can't remember the specific grammar, but look and like and love are verbs that you don't tend to use in the continuous present tense, right? So you won't say I'm looking like a man today. You would just say I look like, right? It looks like this. You don't typically say it's looking like this thing. It's a bit, I don't know, it's just weird, and they seem to have latched onto it as like content creators in the plant world, and they all seem to say, here's what it's looking like, here's what it's looking like, and I've even caught myself doing it. But another one's like, I'm liking it at the moment. No, I like it at the moment. I'm loving it at the moment. Yeah, I'm loving it. I love it at the moment. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And I wonder if it's just the language evolving and this is what's going to become commonplace in the future, because yeah, that's just how languages evolve. Another thing, grammatically, whilst we're on that, having a freaking whinge, this is what's made me feel really old. And I don't know if this is an American thing. You guys will have to let me know, Americans watching this or Canadians. And I've heard both Canadians and Americans do this. I haven't heard Brits do it that often, although I think they probably do, and I think Australians probably do. But it is where they use more and then the word, so an adjective, but there is an adjective that we already use, a word we already use for that, right? That combination of more. So like more big, right? No one says that. More big, that's an obvious one. Bigger, right? We got bigger. But there's a few of those where they'll say, oh, this one's more green. And you're like, I feel like we got a word for that. Isn't it just greener? Right? Greener, it's greener than this one. It's whiter than that one. It's blacker than this one. there's a few of those. Like it is more funny, and it's like, isn't funnier a word? He's funnier. He's funnier than her. I've noticed that more and more and more and more and more the older I get. So I'm not sure. Is the language evolving? Is this something that people have always been doing? Am I just out of the loop massively? Sorry, I'm just grabbing a whole bunch of pots here out of my cactus mix bucket so that I can start potting up these Trichocereus. And forgive me for talking off screen. But yeah, bloody Peach is losing her shit. It's going nuts. What's going on, Peach? I fed her before, so she's obviously just got loads of energy. Anyway, I think I might pot these all up individually. I just need to see, I guess I'll use some of these longer base pots. So I may just kind of speed through this, guys, and catch up with you shortly. And I'm going to use gloves because I'm a pussy. Okay, so these are the ones that we potted up. We got a whole bunch of these Trichocereus hybrids, which is really cool. We got a whole bunch of those. We then have some Astrophytum, asterias, Super Kabuto. And the cool thing about these guys are that these guys are native to, this species is native to Texas, I think, so parts of southern United States of America. And they are found near Lophophora in the same area. So these guys are peyote. This is the cacti that has psychedelic properties that was used by indigenous people in the US for a very long time, and then obviously later on hippies were getting into it. You've got to eat quite a few of them, and these are expensive as hell. So when you've got access to mushrooms, nowadays at least, people typically don't eat these anymore or use them to trip out. But yeah, very cool. And the interesting thing is that the Astrophytum asterias, which look like this when they get bigger, are actually way, way, way rarer in the wild. These are very, very rare. Now, these are Super Kabuto, so they are a cultivar from Japan, and the only one that I think I have that's mature is this one, or maturing. So this is what they end up sort of looking like with these loads and loads and loads of trichomes and these hairy areoles, they're called, right? So you can sort of see the areoles here. No trichomes on that one, so it is a nudum, var nudum, meaning nude, right? No trichomes. And then this one next to it it's effectively the same, but it has these interesting ridges on the ribs, and it has trichomes. So anyway, I'll give you a better tour another day. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is the flowers of some of these Astrophytum. This is a different species called Myristigma. Onzuka is another cultivar from Japan. And I wanted to, or I already have, but I wanted to pollinate these guys, or this guy here, with this nudum variant up the back here to see what happens if they pollinate successfully. And I did these two the other day. This is a cross-species hybrid where I've taken the Onzuka here, the Myristigma species, and pollinated asterias, and I've written 1 on this tag, 1 on that tag, so that I know that I've sort of cross-pollinated these two. So I'm not going to smash this flower at all, but what I will do is take some pollen from here, and a nifty trick, guys, which I sort of already did, is to rub this on your forehead to get some oils on it before shoving it into the flower. It just allows the pollen to kind of stick to it a little more easily. I need to watch what I'm doing because I'm watching the camera, not the flower. So there you go. I've got some pollen on the end of the cotton bud here. And then I'm just going to go over to nudum and hit the lady bits. Something that I don't tend to say often. So yeah, trying to get the pollen onto, I've forgotten the biological term, but the lady parts of the flower here. And then I will do it in reverse, where I get pollen from this flower and smash the lady parts of this flower. So many jokes that I could be going off on a tangent with, but I am going to leave them behind and spare you. So that's pretty much pollination 101, really. I guess the only other thing to sort of mention before, we were talking about columnar cacti. They're obviously the ones that grow in columns, like a whole bunch of these. And these ones are globular cacti, right? They grow more like sort of balls closer to the ground. Okay, so somehow I screwed up the audio here while I was trying to show you my agave. I've got 2 of them. This one is Agave Potatum Kichoikan, I think. It's a variegated Japanese cultivar, I believe. and it's just stunning. You can see the indentation here of like the teeth marks from the previous leaf and how they just left those like little indentations on the next leaf to come out. I just love that. And these different colors, these different hues of greens and turquoises and blues and grays. And the fact that when the spines come out, Jesus, bloody motorbike in the background. When the spines come out, they're yellow, and then they go this dark red color, and then slowly get brown and then black, and it's just stunning. What? Joey, you all good? Just getting interrupted by my beautiful little daughter. Anyway, yeah, so this is the next agave that I have, which is a cream spike. It's one that I saw another influencer or someone else online getting. I think it was Cookie's Cactus. I think they had one, and yeah, again, they just love the spines, the variegation, and these different sort of pastel kind of hues on it of greens and blues and greys. Absolutely stunning. I don't know what happened to this leaf below. I think it's rotted because I underwatered it, or it's just old. I don't know, but yeah, these are my two agave. And there's Peaches hiding in the background, having a little look. What are you doing out there? What are you doing? Joey, what are you doing? You're feeding the guinea pigs. You're feeding them wood vegetables and a prawn. You're just chucking these in, are you? Yeah. All right, game over. Are we take them away, or are you going to keep going? Not done yet. Joanna. I'm sure they'll be grateful. They'll be like, thank you so much. Yeah, oh, they're inside. Baz and Steve, you guys gonna come out? Joey's got some food for you. She's got some food for you guys. You coming out? Here you go. Out you come. Come on, guys. Out you come, Steve. Come on. Look at you, Baz. Ready? All right, setting up the greenhouse. So the greenhouse was $175-ish, around that point. The tables here were actually more expensive than the greenhouse. I got these from Bunnings. They're just white tables. I think these ones fold out. They're 8 feet long. The ones at the end, I think they're 3.5 feet, maybe 3 feet, I think. But I basically just wanted this U shape that I could walk all the way up in and be able to access everything more easily, right? So yeah, this is how it currently is. Trays and everything, pots wise, a lot of these I actually got for free. So a nice way of getting free pots, you can go to Bunnings and they have a bin usually out the front of where the plants are, and people can just ditch their pots that they don't use anymore. And so I'm always keeping an eye out for these square pots that can be used for cacti. And the other thing is to just go to nurseries and ask them, do they have like a pot bin where they throw out all the pots that they're not using? Because usually they have a surplus. And I did that at Diaco's and ended up with hundreds of them. Gave them a wash. I think you will have seen them in the previous video, but that's how I scored a whole bunch of pots that probably would have cost me, you know, hundreds of bucks maybe, and the trays too, for free. So that's it. And then I guess to level out the table, I've used some terracotta pot trays so that this is flat. The ground here was a little concave. And then lastly, to keep everything down, I've used tent pegs on a bunch of the wires around the frame. I've also tied it down with other tent pegs here and rope. And then I've put cinder blocks. I've got 8 cinder blocks that I've thread the actual metal frame through on the bottom. So hopefully this guy won't be going anywhere even when it gets a little windy. So yeah, there we go. Alrighty guys, so thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. You know what to do if you enjoy yourself here. But in the meantime, check this one out and I'll see you next time. Toru.